I talk a lot about how important it is to be involved in your local government. So, in an effort to practice what I preach, I've met with my county sheriff, my county mayor, and, well, several members of my county committee. Today, I want to talk about being involved in local government from both sides of the ballot box. Hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution, teach a rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me today. We have a couple special guests. We want to look at local government from both sides of the ballot box. So I have a couple of office holders. I have a city councilman, I have a county commissioner, and just to be above board, neither of them actually represent me, but I do know them personally. Thought it'd be a great time to sit here and talk with Joshua Blevins and Eric Maddox, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But gentlemen, welcome to the Constitution Study.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Good to be here.
So, all right, Josh, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, your position and maybe a little bit of what it's like to be an elected official in a local government.
Yeah. I represent Ward 5 here in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and I've done it for all of 1 month. So I don't have a whole lot of background in it yet. I'm brand new. Just got voted in November and actually just took office in December, which is about, 4 weeks ago. So can't say that I'm an expert at it yet, but so far it's a lot of listening to local neighborhood issues and neighbor issues and just, looking out for things, right where the rubber meets the road, things like solid waste issues and traffic, lights and street lights and, those kind of things.
Yeah, just coming in, you're kind of getting the information dump and learning all of the stuff that's involved. So you got an interesting perspective as the newbie of it, the honeymooner.
Right. Yeah. Just in the last 2 weeks, even actually today, I did a tour of our full fire facilities here in the city. And last week it was police, and I'll be doing public works pretty soon. So, yeah, I'm just kind of, getting in there, trying to learn how all the systems work, where everybody's at and what we can do to hopefully improve them.
Excellent. Now, Eric, you are actually at the county level, and you have been doing this a bit longer. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about what it's like being a county commissioner.
Yeah, Paul, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And for the record, I'll go ahead and state here that I do know Josh Blevins on a personal level. Before he was elected, I know that the city of Shelbyville and the county will benefit from Josh being in that position. And it's a pleasure to share this session with him this afternoon or this evening. Paul, a little bit more about me. I do serve the great people of District 1 for Bedford County. That includes Wartrace, Bell Buckle. It's a pretty large area, mainly rural. A lot of good, hardworking folks have trusted me to take on that responsibility of sharing their will with the county commission at a county level. I am in my second year of a 4-year term, and it's been a really good opportunity. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of good folks that I feel like that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet before I took this role. So thank you again for having me on this session, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, yeah, we talk so much about the federal level and sometimes about the state level, and both of you have other jobs. This is not what you do for a living. This is I would hope to say a service that you're providing to your districts, the area, the ward that you covered. For anybody else that's interested or thinking about, do they want to get involved? Maybe we'll talk a little bit about what it's like, but from a 50,000 foot level, what each of you tell me, what would you think wish people knew about being involved in their local, what would you love to see people do and be involved um from a local level?
I think for me, if people would get a little more informed about what was going on with their local government, I think a lot of people just don't give it a whole lot of thought. They just go on about their lives and, their daily lives until something comes down and really impacts them. Like, they hear, oh, there might be a tax increase or there might be a new fee or there might be a this or that. They don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on at the local level. But then, when they do, they get all up in arms and don't really know all, what's going on around in all the different situations locally. So it's worth paying attention. Both our city and our county, I think this is probably similar all the way across the country. All of our meetings are public. They're online. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. If you take the time, you can actually see what's going on locally, because you can try to follow through local media. You may or may not have a good local media source that's actually paying attention as well. So sometimes you actually have to do the work yourself.
How
Yeah,
about you, Eric?
I think it's important for folks to really want to be involved and informed. I know for me, that's one of the main reasons why I chose to throw my name in the hat to serve my community, was simply because I became more aware of some of the opportunities that we had within the county to possibly even improve. If you look at local government, it's really important because see, whether it's city, county, we help make decisions that provide the essential services that are for the folks that are closest to our home. Here in Bedford County, Josh and I have to represent the will of those around us, and we make those decisions based on the feedback that we receive from our constituents. And it makes our job a lot easier if we are able to solicit good feedback in abundance from the folks that we serve. It makes the decisions that it makes our decision, our final decision, or our vote that we cast. We can rest easy at night knowing that we sincerely represented the will of the folks. And I believe that it's important because, it's important for folks to be informed, because unless they're informed, they really don't know what's going on. And it forces us to have to make a decision about certain situations without believing that we had the whole audience involved, right? We had their whole feedback. So I think it's extremely important for folks to be involved, especially at the local level.
Yeah, and unlike Washington, when they reach out to Eric or to myself, they're not talking to an assistant or a secretary, or there's no filter between. They're getting right to the source of who's got to make those votes and those decisions. My neighbors reach out to me all the time by text message, Facebook Messenger. There's all these ways they can reach us, and we're representing a lot of people. Like my ward, I want to say is 4 or 5 thousand people, but they can still individually speak to me, on a particular issue, and we'll hear them, and we definitely take anyone that reaches out. If they take the time and effort to reach out, we know that they're serious about, what they're calling or emailing or texting about.
You have the most influence over the government closest to you. And Josh, you said, people usually pay no attention until they've got something to complain about. The first official I reached out to was actually our county sheriff. And I think I shocked him. I surprised him. I said, I wanted to sit down and meet. He goes, what about? I said, I just want to talk. I'd like to get you outside of a problem or a campaign. I want to know who it is so that come election time, I have a better idea of who I'm talking to. I got invited to a breakfast that you guys are part of every week. So I've had the chance for the last several weeks to sit down and talk and find out, well, what are the issues that you guys are seeing? What's going on? At the local level, it's a lot easier to be involved, not just in that constituent level, but as a person. And I think when you see people and I see, and we as constituents see you, it's a lot easier to come and say, hey, I've got something going on. Can I get some help? You're a person. You're not just a phone number to call back to. And I think you can also explain, well, here are the problems we have. One of the biggest disconnects is we want something. We don't always know what are the problems that causes why we can't, maybe what we want is not the best solution or the one that's going to work. It's a lot easier when you're dealing with people, like you said, rather than assistants and handlers.
You're right, Paul. One thing that became very apparent to me was, you always hear that, they put their britches on just like you do. And it became very clear that even in politics, it's the same way. I know that we're voted in But once we're voted into office to be a representative, to work for, to be an employee of the people, we're still people just like everyone else, and we're easily accessible. And my encouragement to anyone that sees this, hears this, is to know that um, we are easily accessible, and most of the time, I'll say most of the time, I know that for Josh, he feels the same way. I hate to speak for him, but I'll try. We do want folks to know that we're easily accessible, and that we're here for them. We're here to serve them. Um, that's our main goal.
And as you said, you're dealing with a lot of the day-to-day issues. And, we focus so much again on DC, and we don't realize how much our rights can be trampled right here at the city, at the county, at the school board level. And if nothing else, like you said, you have more influence so we can protect our rights. And in many cases, I would hope educate our representatives, because someone like me who studied the Constitution for years, I may see things completely different than, the you two gentlemen who have your own careers that do other things. I think it becomes a lot more of a government of, by, and for the people at the local level than it ever will be at the state, much less the federal level.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we don't have, I mean, and I'll speak for Eric since he spoke for me. We don't, we may look like two intelligent gentlemen, but we don't know everything. I mean, there's a lot of information that we need to gather on, anything that goes on in local government. And the more feedback we're getting from our constituents, out there on certain issues, that helps us to form an intelligent, and hopefully make an intelligent or wise decision when it comes time to vote on these issues. So I don't know everything there is to know about law enforcement, about, fire protection, EMS. But the more that I hear from my constituents about, hey, I've got this issue, I've got this issue, they can give suggestions, I'll look into them, and that's how I learn and am able to make an informed decision when it comes time to vote on these things.
Yeah, and I'll add to that every issue may affect people differently in different families. One family, there may be something that we may be voting on that it's not a bad situation. It's not anything that's going to be quote unquote bad for the county, but it may have a negative impact on one individual and not on another. So we we really need to know, how does the majority of the folks within the areas that we serve, how do you feel about this particular issue? And that's where I think we fall short a lot is, just getting those folks, having them stay informed, and then, then telling us how they feel about a certain issue as we vote on it.
I'm reminded of the words of James Garfield, who said at our nation's centennial, now more than ever, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress. If that body be intelligent, brave, if that body be ignorant, reckless, and corrupt, it's because the people tolerate ignorance, recklessness, and corruption. If it be intelligent, brave, and pure, it's because the people demand these high qualities in their national legislature. I think that's just as true at the city level, at the county level, and I believe that's where we start. Because let's face it, many of the people that end up in state government actually start in local government, and some of those people in state government may eventually end up in the federal, legislature. It's a great opportunity to not just learn the ropes about the politics, but about the Constitution and interacting with constituents and their rights. Before we go, because I don't want to keep you gentlemen too long, we'll start with Josh. Is there, again, one thing you'd like to leave, an idea you'd like to leave people with as why they should reach out, and maybe just reach out and maybe have breakfast or a cup of coffee with your local representative?
Yeah, for me, it's just again, I don't know everybody in my areas. I don't know their issue that concerns them. I mean, everybody has something that's at the top of their mind or something that's affecting their day to day life, possibly in city government, in my case, because I'm representing the city. And I don't have any way to know unless you tell me. So I'm like everybody else. I'm on social media. I see, all kinds of discussion on there. But until somebody physically reaches out to me personally, I don't know that, hey, this person in my ward has an issue with, animals, they need help with animal control, or they have an issue with, their street lights aren't working and it's dark on their side of town, or, whatever it is, I do what I can to do background research and, get out in the community. But until somebody actually reaches out to me personally, I don't necessarily know what their problems are, and then can't help them. So,
When you were put into office, they didn't issue a crystal ball to know everything?
no,
No.
crazy like that. So, yeah.
How about you, Eric?
For me, I want to say that, well, first of all, I really appreciate the opportunities that I do have to meet with what I consider friends. Paul, I know that you and I and even Josh have shared coffee on several occasions, and that breakfast is always open to anyone that wants to join. And there's another small group that gets together on Friday mornings, every Friday morning for the last couple of years. So that's been a great opportunity to get to know the temperature of some of the constituency. I want to say thank you there. I do send out a small challenge to everyone at all levels, is that I believe that we as a people do need to level some accountability on our elected officials. That includes Josh and myself and others that are elected to do a job. I believe that unfortunately apathy is real, and I believe that folks simply settle into a place to where they trusted an individual to go into office, and that individual will always have their best interests at heart. And in most cases, that may be true, but in some cases it may not. And I think that that's where we as citizens need to, as the old saying goes, trust but verify. I believe that accountability is a big piece of government. It's a needed piece, and folks can't do that unless they're, number one, informed, and then number two, they speak up and make their voices known. And I encourage folks to do that. I have a Eric Maddox, County Commissioner Facebook page on social media that I keep updated regularly with agenda items of our meetings. I have my phone number that I've had for 20 something years publicly published. They could reach out to me there. Um, I'm easy to access. I just encourage anyone to reach out to me. If nothing else, if I haven't had the opportunity, if someone sees this within my district, reach out to me. If I haven't met you, I would certainly love the opportunity to do so.
Well, Josh, Eric, thank you for your time. I'm reminded of a movie. I love this old movie, Support Your Local Sheriff. There's actually a series of Support Your Local. And I loved it had James Garner in it. So I'm putting out a challenge. Support your local elected official. And I don't mean by giving them money, but I mean by meeting them. See them as a person, as someone that you can talk to and maybe explain what's going on. And here's some of the other challenges that may be involved. If we are more involved with our local government, they can represent us better, and it becomes less of a finger pointing, shoving match and more of a collaborative, hey, how can we deal with the problems that we have? Let's not look at our politicians as the enemy. Let's look at them as potential allies in fixing the problems. And it starts at the local level. Gentlemen, thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us here at the Constitution Study.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.